I'm Chief Ibrahim A. Sarki, the district head of Waru, under Garki Chiefdom, Abuja Municipal Area Council, and this is my story.
I am Baron Joseph Okoli, Administrator, Igalamela Odolu Local Government Area of Kogi State, and this is my story.
I'm Senator Joko, and this is my story.
My names are Dr. Prince Desmond Odinakachi Madekenwa Ononuju. This is my story.
On my story today, John DARA takes us through his upbringing, challenges, success, and aspirations. Please stay tuned and be motivated.
My name is John Dara. I was born in Ipe, a small town in Kwara State, very close to Ofa. I schooled in the village, Ipe Primary School. But what was remarkable about my growth days was the fact that the community identified me as a very intelligent and well-behaved child. So from childhood, I've been playing leadership roles among my peers. I used to lead the classes I was in the primary school. So I remember looking forward to the prize-giving days. It was always a thing of joy for my parents, who, by the way, were illiterates, peasants in the village. But my mother in particular was very passionate about education, and she would escort me to school before going to work in the farm, and she would be eager to get back from farm because she says, my son will be back from school and I don't want him to be hungry. Most parents will leave some food for their child, but my mother would rather be around to give support. So I grew up feeling loved. My father too was very proud of me, so he was always very supportive of whatever I wanted to do. And from an early day, it gave me the confidence that I was going to go far in life and be a big leader. I remember in primary school when a teacher beats me and I go back home to complain to my mother, you say, don't worry, you become a guy yourself, you punish others under you. It goes with your training. And so I grew up feeling that I was on a mission. I had a sense of purpose. I also was very involved in the church, in the local church. I memorized the scriptures very quickly as a child, and I used to represent my church in conferences, reciting Bible verses and winning prizes for the church. So again, it also meant that the church held me up as a role model for the other children of my age. When I was baptized, normally the church interrogates candidates for baptism, and when it got to me, the pastor said, "Do you think we need to ask this one any question?" And everybody said no, because they felt I was a perfect child or a model child, which was not correct. By the time I got to secondary school and free from parents, free from my local church, I actually became a rascal, and I turned full degree, became the leading rascal in the school, and that continued up until the end of my secondary education, after which I now became a born-again Christian, as we put it. Then the redefinition of my personality began to come out. But I went to a grammar school, which was the first community secondary school in the whole of northern Nigeria, and it's produced many greats, especially in the military, in the judiciary, and various other professions, even the accountancy profession. So it was a competitive environment, but I guess what turned me to what was called a rascal was because I was the youngest in the whole school and the smallest, and I noticed that people were picking on me. I became defensive and instead became aggressive. And then by the time I became bigger, I became champion of the weak and the underdog. And ironically, that's probably what has defined my politics to date. I fight for the weak. I fight for the underdog. I fight for the disadvantaged, because I was weak and vulnerable, and I was disadvantaged in many ways. Some of the boys or some of my classmates were from wealthy homes, or highly educated parents, and some of them had all kinds of advantages over me, not only in age and size, but I held my own. I was able to maintain relevance. In fact, to the extent that I became, as I said, the leading rascal in school. It meant also that everybody paid attention, from teachers to students. Everybody paid attention. Luckily for me, I was a smart student, so it was difficult to just completely write me off as bad boy. There were inspiring moments of me showing my leadership skills in class and in other places. But I think the defining moment for my life came when I became a born-again Christian. And that was not until I left secondary school. In fact, in my final year, when I was becoming sober and more serious and rediscovering the foundation laid in my home and village church, the Christian students in our grammar school didn't believe that this troublesome fellow could be serious about becoming born again. So, in a sense, I wasn't quite accepted in the Christian fellowship. Luckily for me, I went for HSC, higher school certificate, advanced level as it were, in a mission school, which gave me a new beginning. Titcomb College, Egbe, now in Kogi State. It used to be part of Kwara State. When I got there, I simply didn't want anybody to know about my rascally past, and threw my energy into the fellowship. And in no time, I became one of the leaders. And I've maintained that leadership role in the church community till date. It's unbelievable how involved I am in Christian activism, as it were. I have an advantage, and uncommon knowledge of the scriptures helped me to actually set standards and to be able to challenge other church leaders to say, this is the direction we need to go. This is what is wrong with what we are doing. Most people just follow the current. I don't have the temperament to follow the current. I just want to know what is right, what ought to be. I do that both in my spiritual life and in my professional practice. Now I have a degree in education. I have from the University of Benin. I have a master's degree, more from a part-time program with Imo State University. But it turned out that the MBA from Imo State University has been my main source of livelihood. I ended up becoming a management consultant that is respected, especially for my training workshops. My company, Chancellor House Limited, has become quite reputable for training corporate and executives and government officials, public officials, even legislators. We run training workshops for them.
Stay tuned and we will be right back.
Life is full of people who pursue ambition in a bid to make progress. They have experienced volumes, catalog of losses, ranging from loss of life to loss of joy, loss of family, loss of dignities. Fact, some sacrifice their health in a bid to obtain progress.
There's what you call grand corruption, petty corruption, and systemic corruption.
Free education is the cheapest project the government can embark, unlike construction.
Small issues like lights, steady power supply. For me, that's the biggest issue.
We need to look at socio-political, economic foundations and resilience organizations for our teenagers.
Leadership is an opportunity for you to serve other people. And if you are not willing to serve, you have no business being in leadership.
One other area of my life that shows God's love for me has been my family. My wife, who is smarter than me, by the way, is a big blessing. We raised 4 wonderful children. 3 of them are married now. They've given us, in between them, 8 lovely grandchildren. And while they all say, hey, we are no more into babies, in their generation is either 2 children or 3 children. We look forward to our last child getting married to and probably adding to the number of our grandchildren. So my wife and I married young, but I think the excitement, the love, the beauty in our home life has inspired our children to also marry early. Even though they all married after their master's degree, nevertheless, relative to their peers, marrying at 25, 26 was quite early. But that has been a blessing because now we are young grandparents, and the family for us is a very intimate relationship and institution. We are all very much together. We talk every day. And again, they are all doing very well in their career, because once you have solid educational and ethical upbringing, it's bound to affect everything else you do. And we feel God has been quite good to us in our family life. Let me say that where God is taking me next is to provide leadership for Nigeria. Our country has been very unlucky in the area of leadership. We've been drifting and stumbling and groping for answers that are not really complicated. Luckily for me, I've been again prepared to provide not only service but solutions, because in the course of my career, I have been in 4 national conferences. 4. 1988 Constituent Assembly, I was a resource person, a rapporteur. Vision 2010, I was consultant on communication, and I was seated all through those 2 conferences, actively participating in some of the background meetings. But my game was up when in 2005 National Political Reform Conference, I was a delegate. And then in 2014 National Conference, I was again a delegate. In all of this, I wasn't just a delegate. I brought the wealth of my experience to guide other delegates. Some of them were coming to such conference for the first time. But here was I, who have been involved in so many before. I was able to set the pace and be a playmaker in the last 2 conferences in particular. And therefore, in a sense, I know what needs to be done to fix this country. And I believe that bringing my leadership and managerial background to play, I will change the direction of things in the country and set a new standard. So 2019, I'll be running for president. It's not so much of luck. Luck creates the impression of accident. I believe that upbringing is a deliberate thing, and that if parents consciously raise their children to be people of integrity who can lead, they will end up becoming that. And so my parents did that for me. I said my parents were illiterate, but my father was a community leader in whose house all the politicians gathered every night, and my father would provide free palm wine to everyone, so people look forward to coming to his house to meet, because they were guaranteed good quality palm wine every night. I mean every night. I grew up, therefore, seeing my father providing leadership in the community, even among those who were educated. So for me, I think upbringing should be seen as a deliberate thing. What you sow into the life of the children, you will get the fruits eventually. I did that with my children. I'm excited about the outcome. I used to joke that my children are richer than me economically. They are smarter than me. And they also will probably say, well, whatever we have, God used it to give it to us. So it's not luck. It's about doing the right things to get the right result. There were things in my childhood that were negative, that I deliberately said, I don't want this to be part of my life. My father and my mother had difficulty in their relationship. My father would relate to the children, giving his best to them. My mother would relate to the children separately, giving her best to them. But they were not the best of friends. They were not. They never separated. The separation was out of the question in the rural people's understanding of marriage. It's a lifelong thing, especially when they combine the traditional value system with Christianity. it's settled. Divorce was not an option. But they were not the best of friends. From childhood, I said to myself, I want my marriage to be harmonious. I want an excellent relationship with my wife. In other words, even the negatives in your background can be converted to positive. You can use that as a reason to say, I don't want to be like this. There are children of drug addicts who say, I don't want to be like this. And they go on to become great achievers. But people make excuses for their failure. I believe education and self-improvement is possible for any and everybody. And anyone who fails to take full advantage of educational opportunity and the need for self-improvement will end up falling below his or her real potentiality. For me, the combination of education and Christianity has helped me a lot in developing a very positive outlook to life, a can-do spirit, and I believe anybody can be a great person, and that's what God wants us all to be our best. I believe that parents must always avoid saying negative things to their children. There's a need for parents to learn to prophesy positively into the life of their parents. Instead of calling your child a loser or useless, let him know he can be a winner and he could be somebody. But let me also say this, that even if your parents don't know better and they are always cursing and abusing and putting you down, through books and self-education, you can create a new world for yourself and move on. No matter how bad a person's situation may be, you are in debt today, you can come out of debt and become a wealthy man. You are being thrown out of your residence by your landlord, you are publicly humiliated, you can bounce back from that and become a success story with your own business of real estate. You failed examination. How do I face my parents? How do I do this? But you can go on and retake exam and become superior. Professor Wole Soyinka didn't quite fail, but he didn't get a brilliant result in his first attempt for his first degree. But he went back and did it again, and he got the result he wanted. He's gone on to become world famous. So people should never get depressed or should never despair, or not to talk of get to the extent of saying they want to take their life because they have an embarrassing situation. Even if a man is paraded on the street as thief, stripped naked, he can become the ruler of the same town eventually. If he reforms, rehabilitates, rebuild himself, he can become the kingpin of that community. So any damage can be repaired. Any setback can be made up for. And that's why I think people should not despair. Poverty is not an excuse for giving up. Failure is not an excuse for giving up. Even sickness, physical sickness, God can bring the healing. There have been testimonies, people have been told, sorry, you won't live beyond the next 3 years. And they have gone on to live on and on and on and on. I know a political associate of mine who from childhood was told he would die as a child. He went on and became a pharmacist. He went on and became a governor. He went on and became a senator. He's gone on and on. He refused to die. So all those predicting death for him are wasting their time. So even physical sickness, don't give up, and you'll be amazed how divine intervention and a positive outlook to life can bring healing where modern medicine says it's impossible. This is my story.
And that's it on My Story Today. For your comments and suggestions, please send a text or WhatsApp message to 0806 004 2843. Thank you for staying tuned.